So we just got the patch notes for Season 1 of Battlefield 6 with all of the changes, bug fixes and so on. So whatever will be changed next Tuesday should be in there, and of course we're gonna go over them as well. We also got a few changes to Portal and to the XP and progression you can gain with it today, and I've already covered all of this in a video earlier, so if you haven't checked this one out and if you haven't seen it yet, be sure to click the link in the info box, because I will not go over this again in this video, because right here we're only focusing on the Season 1 update. So the update will go live on October 28 at 8 AM UTC. And here in the patch notes, the Battlefield studios are writing that their immediate focus is on overall performance and the combat experience. And as they move forward, they're investigating potential changes on key areas such as weapon dispersion, balance, visibility, aim assist, progression, and so on. What is live now, so that's a quick recap right here, is custom search. Here they've made some adjustments to improve how accurately matchmaking aligns with your selected map and mode preferences. So the custom search is where you just select the mode and the map, and then hopefully you get what you were asking for. So here there were adjustments made that the match you will actually get aligns with what you're looking for. And this was rolled out today before we actually got these patch notes. They did these backend fixes. So if you have played yesterday, this was not live yet, but if you played today, this should be live already. The system still maintains flexibility to support reasonable queue times, so players with more specific selections may notice slightly longer waits. We'll keep monitoring custom search performance and continue fine-tuning as needed. Then there was also a vehicle spawn bug fixed, actually during the week already. This was noticeable, and they did this to address an issue where vehicles could sometimes fail to spawn as expected across certain maps and modes, and the current results have shown that it has greatly reduced the number of occurrences and started to improve the balance issues on some map mode combinations. I noticed this specifically in Breakthrough, for example on Firestorm, where we suddenly had a helicopter that was not there before. So these are these changes that take effect. They're also aware of a few outliers that this fix did not address, and they're still working on a fix to resolve these outstanding issues as well. We also saw that this backend change had a slightly positive impact on Breakthrough win rates, but we're working on further balancing changes that are meant to be more impactful and bring the win rates into a better state. So if you felt like Breakthrough feels weird in Battlefield 6, apparently you were right about this, and hopefully we will get an update to this soon as well. And then, like I had said before, the server availability. Here they're writing that earlier this week we made XP adjustments for community experiences, and in case you missed this, check out the details. So if you missed this, I've covered it in a video before. You can find it in the info box. But now we're coming to the actual upcoming changes that we can expect to see next week with the start of Season 1. So first of all, player movement, which I think is interesting for a lot of players. So we're actively refining player movement to address areas that previously felt inconsistent while staying true to the gameplay pace and maintaining the core feel of the launch experience. In parallel, we are enhancing sight stability by minimizing reticle movement during specific animations, and the adjustments aim to deliver a smoother and more precise aiming experience, all while preserving an immersive first-person feel. While they're not really going into specifics here, I guess what they're meaning is when you slip off a rock or when you're jumping and so on, that your reticle is more stable than it was before. But that's just what I'm guessing, because they're not really specific here. But we will feel it next week. Then progression. We are continuing to monitor the impact of the changes that were made last week. So where they made mastery levels 1 to 20 on each weapon easier to get, and then starting on 20 up to 50, it's getting a bit harder, and they're already seeing a smoother experience as well rolling into Season 1, but there are also some additional areas they're tracking. For example, XP earned in Escalation and King of the Hill is not always working as intended. We're planning to significantly increase the payout to bring them in line with other modes, and we'll keep monitoring once the changes are live. They've also seen feedback about the challenges and their criteria, and the team is still working on a series of improvements to make challenges more straightforward to understand assignment and faster to complete. Given the scale of the challenges, these changes will roll out over at least 2 updates, but some examples of what will change and what they're looking into right here. So the class assignment Assault 1, get killed while using the adrenaline injector, from 30 to 3. Okay. Then class assignment Engineer Expert 3, repair vehicles in a match, from 6,000 to 1,000. So these are significant reductions right here. Not sure if 3 is almost a bit ridiculous, to be honest, or if this is even correct. Not quite sure about this. Then weapon assignment Deadeye 2, which is probably the worst assignment we have right now. So instead of get headshot kills over 200 meters with sniper rifles 150, they go down to 5. So this makes this whole assignment a lot easier to complete, and you can actually do it within one single match, and not even a single match, like even shorter. So I feel like they're actually even going a bit too easy on those now. I would have thought they go down maybe half of it, or maybe for this assignment like 50 instead of 150, but 5? That's quite a lot they're going down there. For DICE or for Battlefield Studios, I sometimes feel like they only have a switch from maximum down to 0 or the other way around, but there's nothing in between. But well, let's see if we also get it like this, or if they also do some more adjustments to this. In addition, a later game update will reduce the 200-meter distance on this, so they were probably going down to 100 meters or something. Then they will also do changes to visibility, and here they're actively looking into adjustments to exposure and brightness, and this will lead to improvements in places where players have experienced blinding light when looking outdoors, overly dark interiors when looking indoors, and lack of visibility around weapon optics when zooming in. These adjustments are part of a wider path focused on improving visibility that we expect to complete later in Season 1. And then we also have weapon dispersion, and as part of our Season 1 update, which drops on October 28, we're making several adjustments to how weapon dispersion behaves. So weapon dispersion is the bloom that everyone is talking about. These changes are aimed at ensuring each weapon's accuracy better reflects its intended performance over range. We also fixed a bug that caused dispersion to not decrease as expected when transitioning from sprinting to a prone position. So luckily this bug was already fixed, and then we can expect further changes along the way. They will also continue to refine how weapon accuracy behaves in battle to make the shots feel more consistent and rewarding across all weapon types. And an upcoming tuning pass will reduce the overall impact of dispersion across multiple weapon types while keeping the core intent intact. Burst firing will remain the most effective way to control a weapon, especially on long range, and each weapon will still perform best within its intended range. We've also identified a couple of bugs that caused weapons to feel less accurate than intended. So there was a post-sprint firing bug, where weapons that were fired immediately after sprinting while zoomed could retain higher dispersion and reduced accuracy, and also a movement start bug, where dispersion was increasing faster than it should when players began moving, making even small adjustments unexpectedly impact precision. This was especially noticeable on controllers. I guess this already fixes quite a few of the issues that we've seen on some posts on Reddit or Twitter, for example. And while I was editing this video here, they also dropped the full changelog for this update. I will be posting this in the description below. But it's really just a lot of fixes. So all of the exact fixes, you can find them right here if you're looking for something really specific. But this is really just all of the fixes. The changes are up here, and this is basically what we went over already, but it goes a bit more into detail, so I wanted to include it here as well. So it says they improved the core movement and animations. I've talked about this already, including smoother landings, faster stance transitions, better vaulting behavior and reduced bouncing issues on landing or spawning. So this is what they mean with the movement and animation changes. Then they reward the weapon dispersion to better align accuracy and handling with each weapon's intended design and performance over range. And these changes address cases where accuracy behaved inconsistently, such as dispersion not properly settling after sprinting, and bring overall firing behavior closer to the intended balance between precision, control, and weapon power. Then it seems like we will already get significant visibility and lighting changes with this update, with better exposure transitions, interior lighting, and reduced fog and smoke persistence. They've also done an audio overhaul, which was not mentioned in the community update before. So they're adding new projectile flybys, destruction and explosion sounds, refined vehicle and weapon mixes, and improved haptic feedback across multiple interactions. They've also updated the UI in the HUD a little bit for clarity and consistency, including overtime indicators, end of round fixes, and new unlock markers for weapons and gadgets. Especially this point right here is really important because it's so annoying when you unlock something and you just don't know what you actually unlocked. And at the end, they've also done some map fixes across multiple locations, resolved spawn animations, out of bounds issues, misaligned assets, and general stability across Conquest, Breakthrough, and Rush modes. And now back to the former community update, because they've also went into Battlefield Labs and Battle Royale for a little bit at the end. So for Battlefield Labs, they're taking a brief break while they are prioritizing Season 1 first, and more updates will be shared when PlayStations are returning, and they will continue to develop the future of Battlefield 6 together. So Battlefield Labs is not forgotten, but it will return hopefully during Season 1. And then the learnings they took away from Battle Royale testings, one of those is close range time to kill. So they've adjusted time to kill at close range for all weapons to reward clean positioning and tracking while giving players more time to counter attacks. Keep in mind that this is only for Battle Royale, this is not in multiplayer. Then armor changes. Everyone will now have the capacity for 2 armor plates at the start of the game. All players will spawn with 1 plate, so you will have the chance to upgrade as soon as you start looting, giving everyone an equal chance at upgrading their armor fully. Then also world improvements. They've been fixing pesky world bugs and optimizing areas to improve the environment, and with these improvements they made adjustments to the lighting as well as enhancing the visibility across the map. So I'm guessing that the bugs were pretty much the same in Battle Royale that we're seeing in multiplayer now. When you look outside it's too bright and you have a worse visibility. And then lastly, for the vehicle balance, they've also adjusted the balance for helicopters and combat vehicles to keep them as powerful tools showing off Battlefield's core DNA, but without making them necessary to survive or win the late game. And I'm really happy to read this because there was one of the main issues that Firestorm had, the Battle Royale mode that Battlefield 5 had, because you basically always ended up losing the game if you didn't have a tank. Because in the last circle it was basically tank versus tank versus tank. And I'm really happy to read that they're working on this so it's not happening again. And yeah, that was it for today. Season 1 starts on October 28, next Tuesday. The update will drop earlier on this day as well. When exactly we will see the changes to the challenges, I don't know. I hope it will be coming soon and they will roll this out soon through a backend update. But of course, as usual, I will keep you informed about this. So be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video right here. And I'm gonna see you in the next one. I'm the Catwoman and you are awesome.